zombie mode, aka starvation mode, aka weight loss plateaus. It's important that you understand the science of what's actually happening so that you can make sense of the solution. In this video, we're gonna crack the code so that you guys understand not only what's happening to your body during these dreaded weight loss plateaus, but most importantly, how to fix them. And then we're gonna segue into some of the standard lasting weight loss strategies that you can do to continue your weight loss journey and not have a pesky weight loss plateau happen again. We'll see you guys soon.
So, you know what the weight loss plateau is. You've heard me talk about it a lot and you saw the videos. We got to establish now whether or not we need to do the reset. The reset is the solution to the plateau. Plateau sometimes is not an easy, like it's easy when it's obvious, right? Like I was losing weight and I'm not, and I didn't start stuffing my face. So what's going on? That's an obvious weight loss plateau. Sometimes it's not so obvious. For example, I've been under eating for 3 years and I had no idea. That's a tricky one to find. And so it's the same solution. It's the same problem. You're just completely unaware. If I ask you the question, you're in a plateau, you're like, no, so we'll go through our cases one by one and we'll all learn together. So starting with Rhonda, looks like you're doing the tirzepatide and the AOD with us. Fantastic. Looks like you're pretty certain that you're not eating enough.
I'm 100% sure I'm not eating
100% sure.
Have you started? I had a sleeve 3 years ago. And so I just downloaded, your assistant said, download MyFitnessPal, which I did. And I'm realizing that I'm only eating about 600 or 700 calories a day.
Wow.
So I lost my initial weight from September to February after my surgery. And I've bounced 1 pound up, 1 pound down since then. So you talk about a plateau. It's been 2 years.
Yeah, this is a deep plateau. That's got to be probably one of the biggest ones I've seen, one of the lowest intakes I've seen, I should say.
Well, my stomach's the size of a banana. So I'm trying to get in now that I'm realizing that I'm not getting the caloric intake. I'm really focused on protein. I'm trying to eat 5 or 6 small meals a day now to try to get my calories and proteins in.
You ever see those competitive eaters? The massive amount of food they eat.
Okay.
That's all you got to do. No, I'm just kidding. But
it'll come right back out.
I bring that up because the competitive eaters, the science has shown that they literally cause their stomachs to expand. While I haven't seen research on this, I do believe that you will be able to expand your stomach over time. It's an adaptive response from your body. You put the stressor in there, you challenge yourself and keep trying to eat more and more within a tolerable range, the stomach will adapt. That's obviously why I'm not a fan of those surgeries, but you got to do what you got to do. Now we need to adapt because you'll never be able to achieve lasting weight loss until we can get you eating a significantly higher amount, which you're aware of. And so this will make things tricky because, like you said, you won't be able to fast as much. And honestly, right now, I'm not even worried about fasting for you. In your case, the priority is protein and calories. Yeah. Protein and calories, which means fat, because fat's your densest calorie. So we'll talk about food in a second. I mean, you're still going to do the protocol pretty much to the T. We're just going to not worry about fasting until you're hitting enough calories, and then we can start the fasting. That's the only modification for you.
Okay.
So you said it's been about 800
a day.
On a good day. Okay. So for week number 1, let's start 800, 900, and that's going to be your target for every day. And then every week when you report back to us during the reset, which obviously your reset's going to be a couple months, but if we can get every week, and I usually like to see 200 to 300, but in your case, we'll do what we can, right? Ceci, your situation is very unique. If you feel like one day I could eat more, go for it. I don't want to say as fast as you can, but I kind of do because I think as fast as you can ain't going to be that fast. So,
well, if I overeat, it comes back.
Yeah.
I mean, I am absolutely measurable and it's coming back out.
And you haven't started any GLP-1 yet, right?
I took 1 dose and she told me stop because I had not had this one-on-one with you yet.
Yeah. I mean, given your case, my concern with taking GLP-1 is it might make it harder to eat. That's such a unique situation because there's other benefits I would love for you to have. But if it makes it even harder for you to eat, that's a problem too.
Well, I do have an appetite. It's just my husband says I am the 5-bite queen.
Yeah.
I have 5 bites of a steak and I'm full. I,
Yeah.
I cannot eat another bite. But
No. Yeah.
in 2 hours, I can have some more because it takes about 2 hours for it to get on down. So that's what I'm trying to do is leftovers. If we go somewhere, I bring my box home and then in 2 hours, I'll try to eat some more. I can't drink within 30 minutes before
Right.
or after eating.
Right.
So going back to the GLP-1, if that doesn't affect you negatively as far as your ability to eat, then go ahead and take it. I would still stay in as low as dose as you possibly can. Be very careful. I probably wouldn't even go to the first 25 units. I'd maybe go even lower just for a week because I really don't want to see you have another barrier in front of you to eat more. So
Okay.
a micro dose is still better than no dose as far as the other benefits it gives. So I would say that's how you can approach the dosing. So we got to get through that. So as dense foods as you possibly can, protein and fat. Of course, you need fiber for health, but fiber makes you full faster, right? So let's try to get as much healthy fat and protein as we possibly can. Blending smoothies. Smoothies are a way when it's in your eating window to be able to get a denser amount of calories in.
What do I do with those little pill things that I've got in the refrigerator?
Yeah, those are called AOD troches. So the AODs are nice because they start to rebuild the metabolism, make you more fat adapted. You have such a long plateau process in front of you. So if you do start the AOD, it could be beneficial, but you'll end up needing more AOD in the future. So that's going to be optional. AOD definitely has more return on investment after the reset, but it absolutely can be beneficial during the reset. So I'll leave it up to you on the AOD. Any reset questions for you, Rhonda? We'll talk about the rest of the program here in a second, but
I can't think of anything.
Peggy, looks like we got right. So Peggy, you're doing the AOD with us. Been
I
using.
haven't gotten it yet, so I haven't started.
All righty. Compounded tirzepatide since June. Goal weight of 145. Okay. So you're on the 10 dose. How long have you been on 10 milligrams for?
The last month, I thought I started in June, but I guess I started like the last week in June. So
Okay.
yeah, but I titrated up and now I'm at 10 and I'm doing well at 10.
Gotcha. But it looks like you're on a plateau currently.
I was, and I was reading all your stuff, so I started eating more and I broke my plateau. So I'm losing again.
Fantastic.
Good for you.
I too found out I wasn't eating enough. I have a lap band from, gosh, almost 20 years ago. I had lost everything, hit menopause, got really sick, couldn't work out anymore. I used to go to the gym every day. And so I gained a whole bunch. So anyway, so I'm on the downswing again.
Thank you for sharing that. It's always encouraged for someone else.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's why I suggested the protein drinks because even though they tell us not to drink when you're eating, but I do it anyway. I don't care. And it doesn't make me full faster. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm able to get more calories in. So it may work for you. It may not. I don't know. But mine's been in there a long time.
Thanks for the advice.
Yeah.
Sure.
Peggy, what was your caloric intake this last week?
About 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah. I was
So
less.
that's great that you started losing weight, but we're still going to do a reset. We're going to keep going up. So maybe let's do 1,200 for this week.
Okay.
And then Ceci will work with you, back and forth each. So guys, if we assess that we are doing a reset, that means you're going to be texting the Flow hotline every week at your next weigh-in. And Ceci will be following up with you if she doesn't hear from you. So make sure you remember that section to a T on the welcome to form, that you recheck that section out and just make sure you know exactly what the reset is and what you're looking for. So fantastic. Well, thank you, Peggy. Okay, Stacy, doing the tirzepatide and the AOD. Previously was on GLP-1s, but like many people, there was no guidance. Here you go, right? Yeah, well, I get that. Reached a plateau, and so are you currently in a plateau now? Like you feel like you were losing and stuck?
Kind of, but not really. I mean, I did stop taking the semaglutide. I do have a little bit left. I did stop taking it just because I was just not feeling great on it. I was nauseous all the time. I did also have a gastric sleeve done. Mine was probably like 10 years ago, though. So mine was long time.
On the same call. Whoa.
I think at one point that was like the solution to all your problems was kind of how it was promoted. But I think a lot of the advice they gave was also like to really just try and help you lose weight as quickly as possible. And I did have friends who had it and had all kinds of health issues afterwards.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, what I've seen.
Yeah, but I don't feel that I'm necessarily at a plateau. I did stop taking it. I do feel much better. I find myself eating but not going crazy. I think
So
I'm
you're
okay,
off.
but I'm not sure.
So you stopped the GLP-1. How long have you been off?
2 weeks.
Okay. And you could feel some hunger coming back. You can feel some of the, yep. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great though, because I talk about that actually, by the way. If you've been on a GLP-1 for a while and you're doing a reset, sometimes stopping the medication too is just a nice mental, like, oh yeah, that's what normal feels like. And this crazy suppressed, very unusual, abnormal state that I can't just feel like that for life. No, you got to be able to exercise the ability to feel hungry and say, I'm not going to eat all the time. That's called mental strength. How many calories do you think you've been averaging?
Probably between 1,000 and 1,100 a day, which I know I'm not getting enough protein. I know I'm eating the wrong things. A lot of my calories probably come from carbs because I love carbs. So I'm definitely concerned about the keto thing. I have been starting the intermittent fasting and trying to narrow down my window of eating over the past couple of days, which has truly been a challenge. Yeah, I know I have to make some changes for sure.
Well, the keto thing, we're going to talk about that in a second, but if you said just there was no way I'm going to do that, then I'd say, all right, then let's see what we can do without it. But, and that's where the fasting comes into play, because the fasting it's more powerful than keto. And that's why I like to use both. No long fasting, guys, when you're in a reset. And so a lot of us here are in a reset. You can do intermittent, but the priority for your reset is actually getting your calories in. And with that comes adequate protein, adequate calories are two completely different things. Both very important, but for different reasons. The calories will override the protein. You can have adequate protein, but if you don't have enough calories, you're still going to lose muscle. So you need adequate protein and adequate calories for the whole muscle thing. So you said 1,100 is what you think you've been averaging, Stacey?
Yeah, right around there. And I think a lot of my issue with the carbs was because I was feeling so nauseous, and they were the one thing that would make me feel better. So I've started to back off of that a little bit in the past 2 weeks because I'm not nauseous anymore.
So let's start you off at 1,300 calories for the reset, and then we'll, keep cranking it up from there.
Okay.
So 1,800 for a month. I'd imagine too, was there any changes? Did you feel better? Like when you started eating 1,800, did you notice an increase in your energy, a decrease in brain fog? Were you less constipated? Did you feel less cold? Like, was there anything that told you like my body feels better when I'm eating more?
Actually, no, not really. And I'm having zero side effects as far as like stomach issues.
When did you start the GLP-1?
So I first started in January and I went until like the end of April. And then I had kind of like a 3-month reset. And then I started again July 15th, I believe. So two months. So the first month I was doing like 1,300 calories and I lost like 10 pounds in that month. And then I've just been plateaued for the last month, but I was eating like a lot more.
So I think, okay, so 1,800, not gaining weight, but no change in your symptoms. And the constipation you're talking about is the constipation that's related to the GLP-1s, not like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so the supplements that like the magnesium might help with that we're going to recommend.
Yeah.
The fiber might help with that as well. So we definitely you want to be pooping once a day if possible. That's the goal. That's the target. Your body would ideally want to poop sometimes. It's technically 1 to 2 times a day would be fine too.
Yeah, maybe once a day, but it's a very, very, very small amount.
Okay. Yeah, well, hydration, fiber, the magnesium, and then let us know if that we definitely want to see that get better for sure.
I've been having low energy the whole time. I've been on the semaglutide and I started the AOD and it has just like really increased my energy.
That's so interesting. That's not a common thing, by the way.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's not. But yeah, I see it about 15 to 20%. It does make you fat adapted. And if that was missing from your body, now your body can utilize fat as a fuel more effectively. So that's really cool that helped you with the energy.
Well, I did keto for over a year and it ended up making me really ill.
It took a whole year to make you ill?
Well, there was stuff going on for at least the last 6 months, but I didn't realize what it was. because, you know,
Gotcha.
everybody's like carbs bad, you know, and so.
Totally, totally. I think for your starting point, I want to see, let's test the waters with 2,000 calories just to see what happens. Maybe you gain weight, maybe you don't. And then so it'll be a mini reset too as well, like Nicole, just to make sure we're at the top, and then we can start everything else. Start the fasting at least. Some of you guys are probably already weighing yourself, I would imagine. So choose a date or resynchronize your weigh-in date for the projected future date of when you see yourself doing the long fast, because you guys know that's what's around the corner. So we're going to get you into this weekly long fast. And that doesn't have to be consistent, but when you're talking 2 out of 7 days, it does need to fit on a schedule. Usually you're skipping one dinner, right? So if you got a family, it's usually something that you plan around with your family. I totally recommend you still hang out with them, but that's up to you. Some people are like, nah, I don't want to be around them during the, it's totally up to you. I think just make it a normal thing. Drink some tea, hang out, you know, whatever that time means for you socially. For example, Tuesday night to Thursday night. Let's say that's going to be your 48-hour fast, Tuesday night to Thursday night. Okay, great. If that's it, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning would be your weekly weigh-in. Perfect case scenario. So you basically want to wake up, you're 8 hours into your fast, technically speaking, because the clock starts when you finish your last meal.
If you're watching these clips from my coaching calls and wishing you can be part of the team, I'll put a link in the description, but we have thousands of individuals who are kicking ass using microdose intermittent use protocols and implementing sustainable lifestyle strategies, guys. Click that link, fill out your information. Now, back to the show.
And that's when you want to weigh yourself per week. That way we can stay consistent with your weekly weigh-ins, because it's going to take you however many weeks it takes for you to get there. And then the second part of this is your injection date. Personally, I love the idea of syncing the weigh-in date and the injection date to be together. That would be ideal because it's just 2 habits in one singular day. Plus, you want to inject yourself before the long fast. That way you can get the benefit of the long fast and the appetite suppression, right? So if you are going to resync up your injection date, don't inject too soon. Skip it in time so that way you can catch up and then get synced up. Or you can totally leave your injection date on the same day, just as long as you're getting the appetite suppression from the GLP-1, because some of you guys might have noticed that you don't get the full 7 days.
So about a month ago, I had been looking on some of these forums, and because I was noticing that towards the end, I wasn't getting the appetite suppressant. And so what folks are recommending is that you split your dosage. So you do half of it one day, half of it later in the week. And so I've been doing that for a month, and it's really helped me. So I would like to continue that if that's okay.
Totally okay with that. Perfect. You know, especially because you're in the rhythm, it's working. So definitely no problem with that.
Okay.
Fantastic. So you definitely don't want to lose all this weight and then find out you lost a bunch of muscle mass. Start with your weekly weigh-ins, track your waist measurement in centimeters. That's really valuable to tell us, hey, I'm not losing on the scale, but I'm actually dropping inches, which means actually a good thing, simultaneous muscle building with fat loss. Very, very important. The data on visceral fat and belly fat is we're still learning, and it's still not really accepted in standard medicine that fat around your organs is actually the worst thing for you, significantly much worse for you than subcutaneous fat, although we want to get rid of as much fat as we possibly can. Yeah, we'll find out. Do you happen to know how many calories you think you average a day?
I usually probably intake about, because I was using Fitness Pal for a while, so I probably average about 12 to 1600, but my TPE is 1600 to maintain my current weight, which is 158, but you know, getting back down to 130, 135. So I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I have a lot of gut issues. I can't eat a lot of carbs. I can't eat vegetables. So even if you told me to eat vegetables, can't do it.
What happens when you eat vegetables?
I don't process them. They come right back out the same way. That and rice, and I have a lot of stomach issues with bloating and
Hashimoto's.
But when you go animal-based, you just feel great and there's no issues. So it's such an interesting thing that the carnivore thing is so fascinating, because you need all that stuff for a good gut microbiome, but then you have these weird cases where people also feel really good without any fiber. We just don't know. Like, it's really hard to have an intelligent conclusion here, and that's where I think it's just individual, you know. There is a little bit like, well, do you feel better? Then do that. That's not always the best advice, but that
I can do fruit. I can do like strawberries and blueberries.
I'm okay with some fruit, and you know, berries is a better choice. But so you said the range goes up to 1600. I think you said what you've been at. So let's start at 1600 and see what happens. If you don't gain weight, then maybe we'll go up even more than that. We gotta kind of see. So I would say a very mini reset for you to kind of assess, and then if it's 1 week, it's 1 week. If it's 2 weeks, we'll let you know. I do think there's some insulin resistance going on here. So carbs would just make that harder for us to get through that. You sound like your diet right now, you have it dialed in as far as not reacting. So I kind of just want to keep that going, but the number of calories we're going to play with.
Okay.
You're obviously getting enough protein because you're eating only meat. So
I get about 140, 50 grams a day. I do supplement with protein shake where I use coconut milk because it's a lower glycemic index. So I use usually coconut and almond.
I love it. I don't touch dairy, milk. So we got your starting point. So we got everybody doing resets here. All right, Heather, are you going to join the reset club? Where are you
at? Well, the first like month or so, I was doing 1,300 calories a day, but probably for the last month, I've just been starving, even on the semaglutide. And so I've been probably at about 1,800, but I haven't been gaining weight.
Good. See, that's let everybody know the future. I could eat that much and not gain in most cases. Okay. So the workouts. So before I put the emphasis and make you guys feel like weight training is the only thing you should be doing, I always want to remind you that any workout is certainly better than nothing if you were doing nothing before. So I don't want you to take a loss when I say what I'm about to say, but we got to get into the resistance training. Like it's so vitally important. And so has anybody here never really lifted weights that way? Or you're not sure? Or have you guys all kind of lifted in a muscle building kind of fashion before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the reason I ask is because honestly, a personal trainer for 5 to 10 sessions is a really good investment. It's a couple $100, and for the kind of confidence you can get afterwards, like I know what I'm doing. I know what it feels like. I know how to push myself. That's a lot of return on investment. You know what I mean? So, but if you feel like, no, I know what I need to do. I just need to get off my butt and do it. Okay, fine. Fine, then this is vitally important. With weight loss, the GLP-1s, by the way, despite what you might have heard, do not cause massive muscle mass loss. It's just the problem is people end up starving on them because they're not being coached or guided, and lack of caloric intake, lack of protein intake leads to muscle mass loss, and these medications do that. Or so do stomach restriction surgeries, as you guys know too as well, right? So a lot of things can cause that, the mechanical restriction. But in any case, we just want to get into a rhythm and implement, right? So we'll definitely follow up with you.
Is CrossFit okay, or do I need to increase because there's a lot, my pounds, but we do lift.
CrossFit is a unique category. CrossFit is the most intense, non-hypertrophy style, because they do throw in some hypertrophy in there. The general gist with CrossFit is kind of like circuit, where you notice the aerobic capacity is challenged a lot. As a sacrifice, you don't get as much muscle stimulation. Don't get me wrong, CrossFit has some amazing benefits too, as long as you do it safely and you're not getting injured. The running joke for chiros and physical therapists is open up next to a CrossFit gym. Just be careful, but some of them are really good and they're knowledgeable, they're watching you. Yeah. So outside of that, I think CrossFit is still really good. I would still at some point though, throw in some kind of standard hypertrophy, like think more bodybuilder. There's a reason why bodybuilders don't do CrossFit to get big. Now, I know you're like, I don't want to get big, but you want to train like that to protect your muscle mass. That's all I want to do is I want to protect your muscle during this weight loss journey, because that will just it'll make weight loss maintenance in the future much more smooth. And it's also, you guys have probably heard the last couple of years, all this talk about longevity and literally living longer, having more muscle mass on your body. Mm-hmm. So you definitely don't want to lose all this weight and then find out you lost a bunch of muscle mass. So
my husband does all that research and stuff, but it's good.
It's near infrared sauna.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I have. I'm guilty of not using it as much as I would like. Yeah, I get in 1 day a week, and it always feels great when you do it.
They say 2 to 3 times a week to reduce your cardiovascular event by 60%.
I'll tell you this though, flow fasting though, I think is also doing a lot of that too, and it's a time saver, right? So yeah, keep up the sauna though. You can't overdo that, right? And so I mean you can, but no, who's doing that? So Yeah, 1 day, 2 days, whatever you can on the sauna is great.
Yeah, my situation's kind of crazy. I've gained 20 pounds. I'm usually pretty fit, probably about 135 pounds average. I eat keto already. I actually eat carnivore. So I eat really high protein. I don't eat a lot of carbs. And I just gained 20 pounds for like no reason. And it's all in my lower abdomen. I know it's menopause. So I'm hoping,
Yeah.
I go to
Exactly.
CrossFit 4 to 5 days a week. I sauna, I red light therapy. I don't eat junk food at all.
Any medications that you started or no?
I have thyroid problems. I have Hashimoto's.
Gotcha.
I was hungry and I was doing a lot of research and I was more of an OMAD type of thing because I would eat, like for instance, breakfast this morning was a ribeye steak and 2 eggs. And then I ate lunch, I ate another half of a ribeye steak. And then now my husband's out there making dinner. He's making like the cottage cheese with the egg flatbread. And then we'll have that with chicken. That's like we put like we bread the chicken and like it's not I forget the name pork rinds.
Nice. I see you guys are going real keto. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm coming to her house.
Yeah.
I know, right? That's what I'm
I'm doing something wrong though, because I mean I'm average, it's I know it's
right. Yeah, I mean menopause does this for sure.
I started estrogen and progesterone.
Good.
So the estrogen, it seems to be like all my weight gains around my lower midsection and my inner thighs. Give up CrossFit, but I love it. I don't know.
Well, did they check your thyroid too?
Yeah, they did all those numbers. I think I haven't started the AOD yet or the trizepatide because that's what I was going to start with you guys.
Yep.
But the LDN is what they're adding, I believe.
Okay. Well, LDN will be great. LDN for anybody who has an autoimmune disease, guys, it's called low dose naltrexone. If you have an autoimmune or inflammatory condition, definitely take advantage of this. It's very, very powerful. You get free management during this program.
Yeah.
You just pay for the prescription, and then if you want to keep it up afterwards, I think it's only $40 a month for the management. But really, 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 really good. Since none of us are going to be starting the long fasting, let's skip to the nutrition and really make sure we understand. And this isn't an overcomplicated diet, right? We're just reducing our consumption of processed foods. We're just trying to go as clean as we can. So I talk about 90-10. I still want you to have wiggle room for whatever it is that you do enjoy the most, but 90% clean, 10%, that's your cheat meals. And then a keto version of it. Also, too, there's many different types of keto. And I wonder too as well, there's a concept of clean versus dirty keto. You're always going to get saturated fat, like it's inevitable, but you really want to make sure you're getting a lot of the other non-saturated fats as well. This is olives, nuts, avocados, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, small fish. Like that's really it. So just really make sure you're getting a lot of these healthier fats. 2 to 4 months is the ideal kind of range for everybody. And then even if you're not at your weight loss goal, we're okay with introducing carbs as like a test later. Can I have carbs later? Am I still able to lose weight? Then that means my body's much more insulin sensitive. So protein intake, simple formula between your current weight and your target weight in grams of protein. That's a good range for all you guys to kind of strive. So at least your target weight in grams up to your current body weight. Supplement with protein powder when necessary. Whole food's always ideal, but I think a lot of you guys are going to be supplementing, and that's totally fine. That's with where you're at. Do whatever you can to get your protein and to obviously hit your calorie goals.
So I've been doing OMAD and I've been doing mostly carnivore, but kind of keto.
Now, OMAD is technically 1 meal a day. If you hit your entire calorie goal in 1 meal, I'm totally okay with that. In fact, OMAD would be phenomenal if people could do that. But most people, 1 meal a day, they're going to stop counting calories. And it's just really easy for those 2,500 calorie meals to start slipping and, inadequate protein. You're not getting enough veggies. Like it's just harder for most people. But in theory, if you knew that you were getting enough calories, if you knew you were getting enough protein, I'm totally okay with that. Just so you know.
Yeah, because I'm not hungry but once a day. And if I stick to the carnivore, but with the protein shakes, I can get it all in. So I think that's what I'm going to do.
If you can hit your targets on the protein and the calories, then I'm okay with it. Just so you know, as you decrease your eating window, your body adapts to that. The natural hunger signal ghrelin, which is, stomach growling, like physically I need to eat. A big impact on that is circadian rhythm, which is your biological clock. And so that's why when you start skipping breakfast, when you start skipping lunch, you start fasting, it just literally becomes easier over time because your body goes, oh, okay, he doesn't eat lunch. She doesn't eat lunch. And so I'm just going to stop making ghrelin because she's not, why would I prepare my body to eat if she never eats, right? So as you start going the backwards motion and you start increasing your window, if you needed to, you'll start getting more hungry, just so you know. Because your body's like, oh, okay, I need to start releasing more ghrelin because now she's eating earlier. So it does work the backwards way too. Yep. So it'll be a barrier for you a little bit, but you can increase that appetite over time. Supplements, I know that there's so much in the world. So I try to make it as easy as I can by telling you, hey, these are the essential supplements, and the rest of them are situational. So just make sure you guys are getting at least your core supplements, those core four, the vitamin D, the magnesium, the essential fatty acids, fish oil, and the multi. And then everything else is situational, meaning if you have that problem and you want to tackle it, that's a good supplement protocol to tackle. But I put it in the optional category, given the reasons I talked about. I don't want to create an overwhelming feeling. Inflammation is the second most common reason that people have a roadblock. After insulin resistance, it's inflammation. Inflammatory conditions, LDN is definitely important. Outside of LDN, curcumin and resveratrol are the most powerful anti-inflammatory supplements. The gut health, I think, is a big enough, thing to talk about. So if you're not getting enough fruits and vegetables, we do want to get 20 to 30 different fruits and vegetables. We want to get a ton of different variety of colors, polyphenols, feed the gut microbiome. And so that's why my favorite fiber supplement, if you're not getting 20 to 30 different fruits, vegetables, is the Unicity Life Fiber. There is one bottle that I'm going to show you guys right now that I want you guys to get, since you guys are all doing a reset. So just 2 pills a day. This is going to help with that conversion process to get your metabolism sped up faster.
Is it okay to take Bermamine? Is that going to, because if I'm starting the trizepatide and the AOD, should I not take Bermamine anymore?
Berberine. Berberine's great. Berberine is awesome. It's kind of works like metformin, but not as strong. And so, no, you can take berberine. That's totally fine. It won't create any negative issue.
I was just wondering because I haven't taken the trizepatide. I actually had semaglutide in my cabinet for about a month, and I was too afraid to take it because I was so nervous about all the side effects.
Totally. Right. Will you need berberine? That's hard to say, but berberine can only help. So cool. Okay. There's the section that I call the appetite suppressing supplements. You could take some appetite suppressing kind of supplements situationally when you're feeling like, this is for you guys later down the road when you're really getting into the deep fasting. It's nice to be able to grab some appetite suppressing supplements.
If you guys enjoyed watching this video, then you guys are going to want to check this one out. I take a deep dive into fasting and overall lasting weight loss strategies utilizing these GLP-1 medications in the best format, microdosing, intermittent usage. Check that out, guys. We'll see you later.